The Owl House episode For the Future has finally premiered officially, and yep, it's quite a great episode. A lot of questions were answered, but there are still questions left unanswered, as well as new questions that need to be solved with just an hour left of runtime. There's just so much to talk about, and frankly, all that stuff needs their own videos. So for now, I just want to give my initial thoughts on the episode. Off the bat, I am very surprised to see most of what I said in my last minute predictions video turn out to be true. In fact, a few of the people who watched it found it a bit suspicious, and to those people, no, I did not watch the leak. If I did, I would not have made that prediction video. There's just no fun for me to make a speculation video if I already know what's going to happen. Also, the theories I outlined in that video are generally what the community believed in already before the leak happened. Most people believed that Luz's talisman was going to be a snake or other animals like an otter, a bat, and such, and I guess everyone is correct. A lot of the community also believed that Flapjack became part of Hunter at the end of Thanks to Them, and it's now confirmed. Finally, Bellows trying to manipulate the Collector is basically low-hanging fruit. And even then, I didn't anticipate the way he was going to do it was by possessing Rain. The point is, a lot of the theories I highlighted were fairly easy to see coming, given all the hints we saw in earlier episodes and in the promo material. Still, the fact that most of the community's speculation turned out to be correct is quite amazing. Either the community is really good at catching on to foreshadowing, or the show is just that easy to predict. I'll leave that up to you guys. What I also didn't expect to see in this episode are the individual character arcs. Seeing Luz and Camila's arcs were fairly obvious, but I didn't expect to see Willow to go through an arc of holding into her sad emotions and missing her dads. At first, I did kind of find it out of left field, especially considering in the previous episode, Willow and the rest of the Hexside gang were enjoying themselves pretty well. But when I thought about it longer than a few seconds, it does make a lot of sense for her and the rest of the group to feel some emotional stress. We have seen this before in shows like Amphibia, for example. So to see everyone deal with their emotional trauma and let out their true feelings in this episode is unexpected, but very welcomed as it drives their character arcs forward and gets them ready for the finale. The other part of the episode I didn't expect to love as much as I do is the Collector. When they made their debut in their physical form at the end of King's Tide, I was a little turned off by him, to be honest, mainly because it's hard to see him as much of a threat to Luz and her friends when he just stopped Bellows and his draining spell within a minute. But once we saw what the Collector did to the Boiling Isles in the immediate aftermath, then I could take him a lot more seriously as an antagonist. But I wouldn't say he's evil like Bellows. They did some screwed up things for sure, but they can be swayed to do the right things. Also, while it may seem like the Collector is in the dominant position in his relationship with King, it's clear they actually do care about him and respect his wants, even if they don't really understand or relate to his struggles. I really like seeing the Collector act this way, and it's pretty easy to see why. In my view, the Collector is kind of like Luz in Season 1, but with the powers of a god. Both Season 1 Luz and the Collector are rather upbeat characters who are misunderstood, want to make friends, and like to live in a fantasy world. The difference is that Luz had parental figures to help her grow. But what the Collector had, well, we don't really know exactly whether his parental figures treated him well. Also, the only other person we ever saw him interact with for a long enough time is Bellows, and it's easy to see how spending hundreds of years with a mass murderer can affect one's moral compass. I also like how, despite the way the Collector has treated the inhabitants of the Boiling Isles, King is able to see through that and recognize that they are a powerful but scared kid who is lonely. Instead of overpowering the Collector and getting rid of him, King just wants to talk and basically be a good friend to them, similar to how he was with Luz when she first arrived in the Boiling Isles. This very much shows how much King has grown since Season 1 and how the Collector is indeed a redeemable character, and the only way to really defeat him is through parenting. Although, before we see that, we'll have to see how he is when he's on a vengeance spree. Overall, the Collector is probably my favorite part of this episode, and I'll talk more about them in future videos. That being said though, while I did enjoy the episode a lot with all the character interactions, their arcs, the way the show looks, the humor, and the major plot developments, I actually don't like it as much as Thanks to Them. With this episode, there are a number of things that I didn't like much, but all of them actually stem from one major problem, and it's actually not really the crew's fault, which is the pacing of the episode. With Thanks to Them, I didn't really see the pacing as much of an issue, because the characters' time on Earth was more fun and lighthearted like Season 3A in Amphibia. For episodes like that, you can compress them and still keep most of the major plot points. With For the Future, however, the crew basically tried the equivalent of cramming most of Amphibia Season 3B into a 48-minute special. They were able to do that, but it came at the cost of really needed character development. The part of the episode where this was sorely needed was when Luz and her group visited New Hexside. It was nice to see the characters reunite and see how much they changed. Thankfully, we got a flashback to see how New Hexside came to be, But learning how Basha and Miki, I mean Kikimora, were the authoritarian leaders of the school was disappointingly unexpected. Not because it didn't fit their personalities. We always knew that Basha and Kikimora were assholes. But by this late point of the show, they should have outgrown their antagonist roles by now. With Basha, I can somewhat forgive this because we did see some context to her development during this time. Also, she did have a change of heart and help out the protagonist in the end. But with Kikimiki, Kikimora, sorry, I cannot take her seriously. She doubled down on being an antagonist and strived to become another version of Belos, but in a worse and sad way.
Okay, I'm still catching up. What's the little red kitten trying to do?
She's just copying Belos's scare people into worship thing because she has no ideas of her own.
Damn!
Ooh, I'm going to enjoy this.
Honestly, I never really viewed Kiki as a top-tier character, but I always thought she was fine and had potential to become a better character with the redemption arc, similar to Sasha from Amphibia. But instead, she went in the exact opposite direction of what I wanted to see. To be fair, I feel like the crew could have made this type of character arc work out for Kiki if they just had more time. Which again shows just how much Disney robbed us by cutting season 3 short. But given the limitations they had, I felt like it would have gone better if Kiki did have a change of heart in the end of the episode. Although we do have one episode left, hopefully by then, Kikimora would be less of an ass and help Luz defeat the Collector and Belos, but we'll just have to wait and see. Overall, even though I have my criticisms for this episode, I still enjoyed watching it. Again, we got to see some of our major theories be confirmed and see the characters let out all their emotional trauma and their true feelings for each other. Also, seeing and learning more about the Collector was really good. But in the end, I did feel like this episode was essentially a tease. The main purpose of it was just to set up the climactic final battle of the show. Luz and her group are now at the doorstep of the Collector's castle. New Hexside has been mobilized to fight back. King, Ida, and Lilith are planning to neutralize the Collector through parenting. Then there's Belos, who is currently controlling Rain via possession and the Collector via manipulation. All of the characters are ready for a new game, which we will see hopefully soon. So yeah, those are just my thoughts. What do you guys think about this new Owl House episode? Let me know in the comments. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe for more content relating to the Owl House, Amphibia, and other cartoons I plan to cover soon. Also, thank you to those who are supporting this channel through Patreon and YouTube memberships. Your contributions really do help me a lot, as does watching these videos. Anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for watching. I hope you all have a great day. See you in the next one.